All creation of beauty is from God. All destruction of death is from mankind. Common misconceptions. The nature of the second coming. Yeah, I hear from all the religions that I investigate. I hear from them all that mankind is evil and that some of us will go to heaven. Most of us will be destroyed. A lot of us will go to heaven. Some of us will be destroyed. And to me, God is a God of love. He's not a God of hate. There's close people in my family who have just turned away from God altogether because He's a mean God. He destroys everything. He's not a God of love. He's not even real. They've lost their faith. The Old Testament is interpreted that way, like the flood of Noah. That occurred because God was detestable. He was disgusted with mankind. And so He destroyed the world with a flood, except for 8 people. I mean, even an atheist will acknowledge a catastrophic event occurred a long time ago. That was the flood. And so we interpreted that God wiped out mankind, except for those 8 people. In reality, mankind caused the catastrophe, not God. We were too smart for our own good. We had forbidden knowledge back then, and we tried to utilize it in such a way that it was not proper, and the world was almost destroyed. And then later on, after the flood, here comes Nimrod. He builds a tower. Well, you know what? God didn't confound His languages. He says that if it's not stopped, God says if it isn't stopped, there's nothing they cannot achieve. Well, that part might be true. But the fact is, we dispersed ourselves across the whole world, and we built altars, so to speak, in different parts of the world. They're still there today. The whole point was to build a structure that had some certain harmonics with the universe that we could transcend to the 4th and 5th dimension and beyond. And we didn't accomplish it because our languages changed and we became separate from each other. God didn't do it. And even to this day, we're trying to use black magic and magic, Illuminatical type of enchantments and covens and all sorts of ways to accomplish a superior dominance over the rest of the earth. It's still the same forbidden knowledge. So we look in the Bible and we read about a God of hate and a God of destruction, and we just misinterpret the whole thing. Even in the New Testament, people are thrown into hell. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're thrown to hell. You know, eternal hell. And some people believe there's a limbo where you can buy your way out, or people can buy you out of limbo. Or some people believe that you'll have a second chance. You'll be on earth for 1,000 years without sin. And that's an opportunity to learn how to live a life without sin. And that's bogus too. It's all bogus. The fact is, when God returns, there is a catastrophic event that occurs. It's called the Third World War. It's called nuclear weapons. It's called destruction of the earth. It's mankind destroying it, not God. When He does return, He doesn't return to destroy anyone. He comes back to end a war, which has been going on since the beginning of mankind. It's a spiritual war between God, the Creator, and devil, the liar. And once we establish on earth the fact that the devil is a liar based upon our own behavior and our own recognition of God, the Creator, the spiritual war is over. And when the Creator comes back to this earth, He comes back in complete majesty. He comes back, it's everyone on earth is in awe, and they all bow down to Him. They stop fighting, they stop destroying, they stop lying, they stop stealing, they stop everything. Whatever it is they're doing, they get out of their car, and they get down on the ground because they know that it's God the Creator. It's a very, very significant event that occurs, and none of us are destroyed. The only thing that's destroyed is wickedness within us, and demons are thrown into the lake of fire. We are redeemed, every single one of us. God is a perfect God. He's not going to save some of us. He's not going to bring some of us to heaven. He's going to bring every single one of us to heaven.
Clemicus. Yeah, it was a pretty good move.
He sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that the hour will not take place until intoxication will be on the increase. Isn't this the case today? These constant reminders, yet we live a life of disobedience, we live a life of sin. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that after the minor signs, the major signs will take place, and after the major signs, the hour will come.
All creation of beauty is from God. All destruction of death is from mankind. Common misconceptions. The nature of the second coming.
There'll be light in front of them, there'll be light behind them, there'll be light on the left, there'll be light on the right, they'll be surrounded by light. Then comes the warriors of Islam. They will be on the plane of resurrection. Some will be holding their own intestines, some will be holding their own limbs. Their blood will be flowing, their blood will smell like musk. There'll be light in front of them, light behind them, light on the left, light on the right. Light will be surrounding them. Then comes the muazzin. He will be on the plane of resurrection, and he will be giving the adhan, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And he will continuously do the adhan. There'll be light in front of him, there'll be light behind him, there'll be light on the left, there'll be light on the right. He'll be surrounded by light. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. These are for the good people. Now comes the junkie, now comes the druggie, the very spliff he took, the very sniff he took. He'll be on the plane of resurrection. The crack, the weed, the opium, the white lady, you name it, will be wrapped around his neck. His tongue will come down towards his waist like a thirsty dog. Between his skin and his flesh there'll be snakes and scorpions biting him. He'll be made to wear the slippers of hell that'll make his brain bubble like a boiling water in a kettle. That person who fornicated, he'll be on that plane of resurrection. Allahu Akbar. His private part will be placed on his face. His blood and pus will flow from it. And the prophets of Allah, his mother, his father, every single person on the plane of resurrection will know that this guy is the fornicator. Begin to run and they will begin to hide. They will begin to run and they will begin to hide. The Quran says on that day there is no refuge. He will look above the people, and what will they see? They will see the sky will look like the black filth of oil. It will crack piece by piece. The earth beneath them, it will crack piece by piece. The oceans will be on fire on that day, and they will explode from their places. Allahu Akbar. Picture this in your mind, that the oceans, they will be on fire and they will explode from their places. The stars will lose their shine and they will come crashing down, and there will be darkness everywhere. And when there is darkness everywhere, nothing will remain. Every single thing in the universe will come to an end. The hadith of Abu Hurairah says that the angel of death, it will say to Allah, "Oh Allah, all those are in the heaven and all those are in the dunya, they have come to an end, except for those who you wish to remain alive, O Allah." Allah will say, "Who remains?" And the angel will say, "Oh Allah, Jibreel remains, Mikael remains, Israfil remains, and the angels who are carrying your throne, they remain." Allah the Almighty will say, "Let death come to Jibreel, Let death come to Mikael. Let death come to Israfil, and let death come to all those angels who are carrying my throne. Then Allah will say, who remains? Yeah, Allah knows who remains. Allah will say to the angel of death, who remains? And the angel will say, oh Allah, I remain, you remain, no one else remains.
All destruction of death is from mankind. Common misconceptions. The nature of the second coming.
In the midst of darkness, we have hope in Jesus. Despite emptiness around us, the Son of God and Savior of the world has said, he who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. And the darkness does not overcome the light, but rather Jesus has come to bring us into the kingdom of light, heaven, where there will be restoration for believers, no sorrow, and no sin. In that kingdom there will be neither sun nor moon. The glory of God illuminates it, and the Lamb of God is its light. And the nations of those who are saved shall walk in its light. Believe in the light of the world, Jesus, and be faithful to him, even until the very end. But while we are still here in this world, we have been commanded not only to believe in Jesus, but also to share this light with others. Believers are to represent Jesus well, as a chosen generation called to proclaim God's grace and to worship the Lord of all, who has called us out of darkness and into his marvelous light. Jesus said to his followers in Matthew 5, you are the light of the world.
Upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming! Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. A waste of desert sand. A shape with lion body and the head of a man, who gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it wind shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The most famous human being in all of history was a first-century Jewish revolutionary. His name was Jesus. Christians believe Jesus was crucified, died, and on the third day rose from the dead and ascended into heaven. But for 2,000 years, there have been those who've challenged the truth of this biblical story.
treasures together for the last days.
It's the last days. You're gonna laugh when your ass get burned up. When you on fire, laugh at that while your ears are melting off. Laugh at that. When the Lord hit your ass with that fire. Laugh at that shit.
Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud.
Now, you want to watch some funny shit, man, go on YouTube and search, like, boyfriend catches girlfriend on fire. Yeah, you know what? It's a bunch of them.
That's cool as hell.
That's
just happened in Ohio over here, east of here. Near Janesville, motherfucker, a couple niggas from here.
Tied the bitch up.
They raped her, robbed her, and raped her, and burnt her, kept her on fire.
Melt her bitch's nose off, melt her ear off.
All them bitches got caught too.
Woo, yeah.
Shit is awesome, man. I seen this one video. I'm on fire. I didn't even mess you up. When these bitches walk by and laugh at us, I just imagine them on fire. Like their hair up in flames.
Yeah. Just reaching out for your hand to help them.
Yeah, because the Lord's going to destroy them. Like, they're going to be reaching out for us while we get beamed up.
Like,
like, see you later.
See ya.
You know what I mean? We're going to be getting beamed up while they're going to be on fire.
Holla.
That's going to be beautiful, man.
I will take my dog before I take one of these motherfuckers, man. All right, that's some crazy looking shit. El Camino.
O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you that you should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Jesus Christ has been evidently set forth, crucified among you? Yeah. O foolish Galatians, you who have received the truth of the overcoming supernature of God in the flesh, the Word of God made flesh, and you knew it. Yet you conformed anyway. Holy smokes. You've blasphemed the Holy Spirit. You see, it's one thing. It's one thing to come to the Lord, to understand the world is totally wicked. Okay? The system kills those who are gods because it hates God. It's institutionalized. So, if you sow to that, then you fornicate with a whore, you're going to hell, period. Because you come under the wrath of God. You are slated for vengeance. You have a death sentence on your head. You are slated for extinction. That's basically how we come into the world. The Satanists have a system where, if they don't conform by a certain age, they simply kill them. They wind up being sacrifices in the nod, nod, wink, wink, hush, hush, never talked about back behind the scenes, what we really do in the woods, huh? What we really do in the groves, what everyone is a part of. When I look at America, I see 300 million people slated for death by God's wrath.
The first beast whose deadly wound was healed, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here.
Pause it right there. Yeah. So there's coming a time, according to this prophecy in the book of Revelation, that whether or not it's this RFID chip that you're looking at or not, that there's going to be some type of mark that's this Antichrist beast is going to impose on the world and cause everyone, rich, poor, doesn't matter who you are, and you're either going to be forced to take it, or some even say that it'll be voluntary, that people will just line up and take it. you know, with all the new gadgets and everything out there nowadays, and even the computer, the very computer and the camera that I'm shooting this with, everybody's wowed by technology. And if you do away with money, the need to carry it, and do away with those cumbersome lines that are at restaurants and grocery stores, and boy, everybody's just going to think, oh boy, isn't this cool? But if you find yourself in the situation where they're wanting to mark you, and it's going to be in order for you to buy or sell, I strongly advise you do not take whatever it is. It may be something like this, it may be something different, but it'll definitely be a mark either on your right hand or your forehead, according to Revelation 13. That's what you were just listening to. And the Bible goes on to say that anyone who receives this mark that's going to be dished out during the tribulation period by the Antichrist is doomed to hell and the lake of fire.
All creation of beauty is from God. All destruction of death, it's mankind. The common misconception of our generation to think that God is the destroyer, because he isn't, he never was. All creation of beauty is from God. All destruction of death is from mankind. Common misconception. The return of our Creator destroys. It's mankind, it's humanity that potentially destroys this earth. And all of the blood and gore and pain and suffering and destruction of buildings, tidal waves, flames, fire from the sky, all of it is from the Third World War. And when the Creator returns, he returns to redeem us, not destroy us. The Creator's return is one of glory, glorious, majestic, life-saving, redeemed. Yeah, you know, my wife came down, she wanted me to hear a song, a Christian song. Of course, I'm like totally into my own thing, and I'm not interested in doing that, but I did. She put the music on, and I started listening to it. To her, it's total praise. You know, it's a praise song. And I'm sort of staring up, you know, looking at the books on the shelf, listening to the music, and I go into like a lucid vision. For real. It's like I could see a guy with a machine gun or an AR-15 or AK-47 or some assault weapon. He's a Middle Eastern guy with a thing wrapped around his head, you know, and he's pulling triggers like going chung 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 chung. He's killing people, and the people that he's shooting at are shooting back at him too. So it's a war going on, a gunfight. And this gunfight really, though, is worldwide. I'm just seeing a piece of it. But I perceive this is a worldwide event going on, this gunfight. And as I hear the music, these guys hear the music too that I'm hearing, but it doesn't slow them down. But the music volume increases, and it sort of becomes celestial. And then they do stop pulling the triggers because they notice this is not normal, and they can tell that the music is coming from the sky. It's worldwide music. It's universal. It's covering the entire earth, this music. And humanity recognizes this as a return of the creator of our world. And they lay down their weapons. They stop shooting and they lay down their weapons. And other people that are planning things or hurting others, because it's lots of violence and destruction going on, everybody stops and look up. And this music is so majestic. It's royal. There's millions of angels accompanying the return of the creator of this world, and everyone on the earth sees it, and they just fall to the ground, not really in fear. That's what really was significant, is there wasn't anyone destroyed. It was just a major return of the creator. All of destruction that was occurring was mankind killing each other, blowing up the earth. And on the return of the creator, that all stopped. And wickedness was destroyed with the brightness of his coming. Not humanity. Every single one was being redeemed. And that was the end of what I saw. Then I just heard the music again, and it ended. And I told my wife what I had seen. It was very significant to me. Alright, imagine this. Imagine the return of the Son of God to heaven with all of the people that he just saved. And he says, it is finished. The war is over. The spiritual war. So he goes in to talk to his father, you know, to give him a briefing and say, it's finished. We accomplished it. There were 99 sheep and there was one lost, and I went after it. That's the earth. And I redeemed humanity, and the war is over. So the father asks the son, how many people did you redeem? And the son answers, well, let's see. There's 100, and I'm pretending. There's 145 billion souls that existed on the earth from the beginning till the end. And I was able to save 27% of humanity. Because straight is the way and narrow is the path that leads to righteousness, and few there be that find it. And the father is not happy about that. To me, that's not a perfect God. That's not a perfect completion to the war. 27% of humanity is just not good on this spiritual war. So turn that around and look at it this way. The son goes to the father and says, the war is over. I was able to save the one lost sheep. And the father asks the son, well, how many did you save? And he says, well, I saved all of them, every one of them. We didn't lose any. That's a perfect God to me. And then look at it from another point of view. I'm in heaven, okay? Pretend I'm in heaven after the end of all this on earth. And I look around, and I've got a guide with me, because I don't know where you go to eat. I don't have any little pamphlets or anything, and I've never been to heaven before, so he's there to guide me, to lead me around until I get used to the place. And so I'm looking around, and I'm looking for my mom, and I don't see my mom, and I'm looking for my best friend, and I don't see my best friend, and one of my children, and I don't see that person, that child. And so I ask my guide, I say, well, where's the rest of my family? I'm missing some people here. And he says to me, well, they didn't make it. I mean, they perished, okay? Paul, you've got 1,000 years to go over all the records of all the loved ones in your life that didn't make it to heaven to justify the fact that they're not here. Because, you know, the whole war of principalities in Ephesians 6:12 is those principalities and powers were proved to be liars. The devil is a liar. I'm like, yeah, I know, but my mom, my child, you've got 1,000 years to recognize that God is a just God. Sucks. That's more like going to work for some corporation or working at the prison or being in social services or something. It's not like what I would expect out of heaven. So then you turn that one around, okay, and you say, I'm in heaven, pretend I'm in heaven, and I've got the same guide here. I don't have a pamphlet to go find a place to eat. I'm not familiar with the surroundings. I look around and I see my mom, I see my children, I see my best friends, I see everybody, you know? And I'm totally happy. I even see a guy that beat me up when I was in the 5th grade and then stole my girlfriend when I was in the 12th grade. I see him there too. It's like, I don't know about that. And I asked my guide, I go, well, shoot, everybody I know is here. Who didn't make it? Who didn't make it to heaven? And my guide says, Paul, everyone made it to heaven. Everyone. And I'm like, wow, everybody. What about Hitler? You know, what about, you know, some of these people that were really bad people? He says, Paul, everyone made it. So I go, you know, why don't you show me that? Show me Adolf Hitler. I got to meet this guy. How did he make it here? So I follow the guy down this hallway, this long corridor, and there's these huge doors on the left and the right, and he opens this double door, enters into this giant palace-y looking room, and I follow him in. He stops walking, and I look around to see Hitler. Figures he'd be in a place like this. And I'm looking around, and then I tell my guide, I go, you know, I don't see Hitler. Where is he? So my guide points in one direction. So I look in the direction he's pointing, and there's a child there, 7-year-old kid. So I look back up at my guide for an answer, and he says, that's Adolf Hitler. Before the devil took him. Because, you know, really nobody's going to heaven that isn't like a child. So all of us might be pretty young when we get there. But basically, that to me is a perfect God. That's a perfect God. That's a perfect conquering of the spiritual war and of the devil. That's a perfect redemption.
It's nuclear war. It's other wars, battles. We're the one creating the havoc, not God. When God returns to this earth, He doesn't kill people. He saves every one of us. What's thrown into the lake of fire? The demon and devils. They are not forgiven. There's a unpardonable sin spoken of in the Bible. But, you know, if you read that verse in the Bible, in the New Testament, in Mark, Jesus Christ is being challenged because he had exorcised some demons out of another man. And his response was, anyone who denies Jesus Christ, it will be forgiven him, man. But anyone who denies the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven. It is eternal sin. He's speaking of mankind rejecting Jesus Christ, and yet they are saved. He's speaking of the devil, Lucifer, Satan, who's already denied the Holy Spirit, and that's an eternal sin. And that's the way that verse should be interpreted. Not that we are going to commit an unpardonable sin, because God is a perfect God. He's not going to create mankind and go to war with the devil in a spiritual war that's been going on since the beginning of time, as far as mankind is concerned. And he's going to come back with some of the people. He's not going to do that. God is going to come redeem every single man. The only thing that's thrown into the lake of fire is wickedness. So any wickedness that's in me will be stripped away from me. And I myself will be redeemed, as well as you.
Hi, this is Kerr, and I'm the author of Revealing Heaven. and I'm going to give you a revelation report today about how heaven operates. For those of you who don't know, God has been catching me up to heaven by my spirit for over 15 years, so I have a lot of information to share with you. I'm not going to take the time to try to explain why all these things happen. My job is just to share what God has shown me so that you'll know what actually exists there. One of the things that he showed me was how heaven operates. That means, what is the food made out of? How is, if there's transportation, what kind of fuel do they use for that transportation? What it's like to live in the heavenly realm up there, and things that you get to do and experience. What do you do yourself when you go there to live? Because it's not a boring place, trust me. I can tell you this, that there is food in heaven. And a lot of people get excited when I start talking about this. No matter what you experience with food on this earth, there's no weight gain, no food allergies. You'll never find any gluten-free stuff up there, no lactose intolerant people up there. Everything you eat is totally absorbed into your being because the food is made out of light. And that might surprise you, but you know what? The Father is light. Even your spirit itself is made out of light. That's why God says, don't hide your light, let your light shine. It says God is light. We are the light of this world. And so that really means something. There's even a reason why God said, let light be. There's a reason why he created that first. And I can tell you, even here on earth, scientists are finding out that light is almost a part of every substance that exists. It's in sound, it's in colors, it's in many of the things that are on this earth. It's part of life itself. So in heaven, it's one of the main substances that things are built out of. The clothing you wear is made out of light. The food you eat, like I said before, it looks like pizza, smells like pizza, and tastes like pizza. But let me tell you, you've never had any pizza like they have in heaven. And I was taken to a pizzeria, and let me tell you, the pizzas are the size of the tables, and you and all your friends sit around them, and they actually turn the table to get their slice of pizza. And the funny thing was, every slice could be different from the other one. And they all know exactly what you like, is prepared the way you like it. And how awesome is that? I've been to a bakery in heaven where the cinnamon rolls are the size of a dinner plate. And you know, I laugh about this sometimes because you see aromas in heaven. I tell people in heaven there's more than one dimension. Flowers look beautiful, they smell beautiful, you can touch them, but they also make music. But the food in heaven, the aromas, you literally can see the aromas. And if you ever try to walk by one of those bakeries in heaven and think you're going to escape not going inside, you are wrong. That aroma will actually come and capture you and carry you inside the bakeries. And I can tell you, I've seen many different types of food. And this is the best news of all, especially for women. If you don't want to cook when you go home to heaven, you don't have to. You actually sit down at your table with all your friends. You say what you want. It appears on the plates in front of you, cooked to perfection. You eat all you want. When you're done, it totally disappears. There's nothing to clean up. I really like that part of heaven. So don't think you're going to go up there and have nothing to do but sit on clouds and have angels drop grapes in your mouth. I've actually never seen that happen. There's a lot more to eat in heaven than grapes. And one of the reasons that is because there are people who have gifts as chefs, as people who like to grow vegetables, people who like to make things in the restaurant business, people who like to serve. And so you get to use your gifts when you go home to heaven. I'm not talking about that thing you do for your job on earth, because you know down here on earth you have to make a living in order to exist. But in heaven you exist to live. So yes, there's restaurants, yes, there's bakeries, because God allows them to use their gifts when they get home to heaven. If you're an artist, you get your mansion, you get a studio fully furnished, and then he gives you a gallery. You show your beautiful artwork and you give it away to people. Isn't that awesome? If you always wanted a horse, like I mentioned on one of my other reports, you probably have 100, and everybody comes to your place to ride your amazing horses. They're never going to get sick. You're never going to have to clean them. Actually, you never have to clean yourself. That's why they call it heaven. There's shops and stores to get things because people have gifts that design fashions. They make jewelry. And so all your friends and family living in heaven, they're getting things for you. So that's one of the ways heaven operates. If there's transportation, it runs on light or wind. And yes, there's many forms of transportation in heaven. They have things I call space buses, where a lot of people can ride on them. There's these things they call transport kiosks, where you literally step into beams of light, and seconds later on the other side of heaven, you step out of one. Roads of light are created because your desire to go somewhere. They come pick you up and take you there. Let me tell you, you are never going to be bored living there. And it blesses me that Father is willing to reveal himself in his home to the people of this earth. So I'm praying one day you'll live there also. I know that your family members up there are believing for the same thing. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and maybe one day I'll see you in heaven when we all go there to live with the Father. If you want more information, you can read my book, Revealing Heaven, or visit my website, revealingheaven.com.
Court is in session, a verdict is in. No appeal on the docket today, just my own sin. The walls cold and pale, the cage made of steel. Screams fill the room, alone I drop and kneel. Silence now the sound, my breath the only motion around. Demons cluttering around, my face showing no emotion. Shackled by my sentence, expecting no return. Here there is no penance, my skin begins to burn. So I held my head up high, hiding hate that burns inside. Zoning fuels their selfish pride. All held captive out from the sun, the sun that shines on only some. We don't make a rolling I hear a thunder in the distance, see a vision of a cross. I feel the pain that was given on a sad day of loss. A lion rolls in the darkness, only he holds the key. A light to free me from my burden and grant me life eternally.